it is the next day. I managed to remove all the injectors without breaking them. So I already cleaned all the surfaces. I installed the injector seals and new injector bolts. I torqued all these bolts. So the third injector has been cleaned. The seal has been replaced. We got the third injector ready to go. The second injector over here is also ready to go. To get to the third injector, I had to remove the brake booster. I'm gonna show you what I did on all these injectors on this injector over here, okay? This one I haven't cleaned. I haven't replaced the injector seal, so we're gonna do this together. I also replaced this fuel return line. We got a new one from Mercedes. I replaced this off camera. It goes under this fuel rail. I had to undo these two fuel rail bolts and lift the fuel rail up a little bit. So this hose goes all the way to the passenger side bank. So I did the same thing on the passenger side bank. I removed the injectors. I replaced the seal of the injector. Now this side also had a lot of carbon built up on these injectors. So cleaning this side was a lot of fun. I mean, I was really cruising through this because I had a lot going on in the shop. So I couldn't really film as I was doing this. I don't know if you guys can see all the carbon that we had over there. So we're gonna have to clean up the engine bay when we are done. Okay, so we replaced the injector return line. Everything is put back together, so we're good to go. So now let's clean the first injector on the driver's side bank. We're gonna replace the injector washer, and then we're gonna put everything back together. After that, we're gonna start the engine. So I'm filming by myself today. Cameraman Kyler is not here with me today, so I hope these shots turn out pretty okay. So now I'm gonna put the camera on the tripod so that we can remove this injector and clean it. So disconnecting these electrical connectors was a lot of fun. It was really tough, but I managed to disconnect all of them without destroying them. So that's good. We saved the customer a lot of money by being careful and not destroying these electrical connectors and the injector return tubes. So the injector bolt is loose already, so I'm gonna remove the injector bolt. We are replacing all these bolts. I'm gonna pull out the injector. So here's here's the injector. I was gonna say the old injector, but it's not the old injector because we're not gonna replace it. Okay, and I had to use my slide hammer to tap these injectors out. Okay, so I'm gonna get the injector out of the way. So the first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna use sharp air to clean off this hole over here. Come on, stay here. So there should be a washer here. Actually, here it is. So see, look how worn out this injector washer is. I hope you guys can see it. Okay, so the washer came out. That's good. We're also gonna blow off the hole for the injector bolt. We're gonna use this wire brush to clean the hole of the injector. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna look in there. The injector hole is clean. Okay, and then I'm gonna use this flat screwdriver to clean the seat of the injector seal, because we have to make sure that there are no carbon built up around the injector seal. All right. So now I'm gonna bring up our fuel injector. So we're going to clean our injector. So I'm gonna put this rag over here, so we don't want any dirt falling in the injector hole. So we're gonna clean the injector. Now there's one thing I wanna mention is when I was removing these injectors, I made sure that I didn't interchange them. So whatever injector that came out of a specific cylinder got back into that cylinder. So that way when we are done, we don't have to rewrite the injector ID in the engine computer. Okay, so we got this injector as clean as we can. So here it is, as you can see. It's a lot cleaner than before. So that's good. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is we're going to remove this little O-ring. There's a little O-ring over here. We're gonna replace this, the small O-ring that goes on the injector return tube. Okay. And then I'm gonna grab the new one. So here is the new injector O-ring. Here is the part number. I hope you can see it. So there's a tiny little O-ring in this bag. So I'm gonna get this out of the bag, and then I'm gonna install it here on the injector. It's a very tiny O-ring. I hope you can see it right there. Okay, very good. So now I'm gonna clean the injector bracket. All right, we're good to go. So now I'm gonna use a little bit of anti-seize compound over here on the injector. So I'm gonna apply just a thin layer on the injector body here, and then I'm gonna apply some up here on the injector tip. So I always like to put a little bit of anti-seize compound on the injector, because when you do that, whenever the injector will be removed next time, this injector will come out easily. So now I'm gonna install this copper washer. We're gonna install a brand new copper washer, and all these parts, I got them from Mercedes. Okay, we got OEM parts like we always do. I mean, for the most part, I always tell my customers when it comes to Sprinter vans, I always install OEM parts. So we don't install aftermarket parts on Sprinters. So now our injector is ready to be installed. We got the washer here. So now we're gonna install our injector just like that. Okay, perfect. So I have a bag of bolts and injector washers. This is what I got from the dealership. So now we're gonna install a brand new injector hold down bolt. We're gonna get the bolt started by hand first. And then I'm gonna grab my torque wrench so we can torque the injector bolt. I'm gonna connect the electrical connector of the injector. I hope you heard it snap. So that's good. Let's torque this injector bolt. The torque spec for the injector bolt is 8 Newton meters. So I'm using an inch-pound torque wrench. So I converted 8 Newton meters into inch pounds. So 8 Newton meters equals to 70.9 inch pound. So I set my torque wrench to 70.9 inch pound. So let's torque this bolt now. So right there, I hope you can hear the torque wrench click. All right, so that's good. So now the next step is gonna be installing the injector fuel line. So now we're gonna install this line that goes over here. After I tighten this line, then I'm gonna install the fuel supply line that goes from the high pressure pump to the fuel rail, and then I'm gonna reinstall the brake booster, and then I'll put everything back together. So we are almost done. I'm not gonna show you the boring part of reinstalling everything. So now our fuel return line can be installed. So this guy is gonna go right here. And then we're gonna lock it. Same thing over here, lock it. And then I'm gonna install this one to this injector after I'm done tightening these lines, okay? So I'm gonna put everything back together off camera. Once I have everything back together, I will bring you guys back up so we can start the engine and let it reach operating temperature. After the engine reaches operating temperature, then we're going to remove the glow plugs. All right, guys, it is the next day. So we are winding down towards the end of fixing this Sprinter van. So just to recap, remember when we first looked at the Sprinter van, it had misfire codes, it had glow plug codes. So the misfire codes were being caused by the compression leak that we had around the fuel injectors. So we removed the injectors, they were really stuck, we cleaned them. Actually, I have a picture that I'm gonna share with you. Our cameraman Kyler, is gonna put it up somewhere around this area so you guys can see how bad the passenger side bank was. So changing the injector seals on the passenger side bank was really, really difficult. So with that being said, I also want to acknowledge our cameraman. So cameraman Kyler, thanks for being here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring you here under the hood. I'm gonna show you everything. I did the fixing yesterday, so this is the next day from that. We're gonna go on a test drive, and then when we get the engine to operating temperature, we're gonna come back in the shop so we can replace the glow plugs. I'm just gonna show you how to replace one glow plug. I will do the rest off camera, and then after that, we're gonna wrap up this video. I'm sure right now, this vehicle is gonna run a lot better. So if cameraman Kyler can walk here towards the engine, I'm actually gonna remove the air filter box. So this was very bad. Actually, I'm glad that we did not break anything. I told the customer there was a possibility that we could have broken the injector return tubes because everything was very corroded. Guys, if you have this kind of issue, if your injectors are leaking compression, don't drive. So what happened was the customer thought that it was an exhaust leak while it wasn't. So the covers, the plastic covers that cover the injectors melted. I will show you the covers just in a little bit. Let me get this out of the way. So cameraman Kyler, if you can focus over here. Yeah, so this is as clean as I could get this. Okay, so we replaced this fuel return line that connects all the injectors. I cleaned this as much as I could. We replaced the injector seals. We're gonna show you the picture of how it was before it was a mess. Let me grab the engine covers. I'm not gonna install the engine covers, and I'll show you why. Let me grab these covers that I have here. So this is the cover. This is the cover that goes on the driver's side. You see how all of this is melted? So if I install this back, since these cavities over here are no longer, straight, this is gonna break the fuel return line because the fuel return line goes over here. So if we try to press this down on the driver's side valve cover, we can potentially break the fuel return lines. So I told the customer he's gonna have to buy, maybe not the cover, because this is the cover. The cover is, this cover can be reused, but this piece of insulation that goes below the cover should be replaced. Okay, so he has to replace this one, and then this one over here is the one that goes on the passenger side. So same thing. I mean, the cover itself could be reused, but it's this piece of insulation. Yeah, this has to be changed, because if we install this, we can put, you see how messed up this is? Okay, we can't install it, because if we do, we're gonna break the fuel return lines. So I'm gonna leave these covers off for now. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this, I think I did. The owner of this vehicle is a mechanic, he's a mobile mechanic. He works on a lot of heavy duty trucks. So he can do this himself. I'm gonna tell him to replace this. We're not gonna install the covers. So now I'm gonna put this back in the van. Yeah, there's one more piece that I need to mention is I believe the customer tried replacing the glow plugs by himself. He tried removing the 5th glow plug and he broke it. And I told him I can't do that. I don't have the equipment to do that. We have to take this to the machine shop. So he told me to just replace the glow plugs that I can replace. The ones that won't come out, he's gonna have to take the vehicle to the machine shop. Now, I told him not to keep driving the vehicle with one glow plug being broken, because some of you don't know this, and I know some of you know this, some do know, some don't. To those of you that do not know, if you have a malfunctioning glow plug on these newer diesel engines, the DPF is not gonna regen. So the DPF won't be able to regenerate, and the DPF is gonna accumulate a lot of soot, and that's gonna cause the vehicle to lose power, and you're gonna have all kinds of issues. So if you have a glow plug that's not working, you have to replace it. Since this is broken, I told him we're gonna replace the ones we can replace. After that, he has to take this vehicle to the machine shop so they can fish out the glow plug that's broken, okay? Now, we're not just gonna replace the glow plugs yet. Let's take this vehicle on a test drive, and then after the engine reaches operating temperature, then we're gonna come back to the shop so we can remove the glow plugs. So now the first thing we're gonna check is when we go on a test drive, let's see if this vehicle is gonna stop misfiring. Remember before, this engine was misfiring. So I'm sure now it's no longer gonna misfire and this engine is gonna run better. So let me install the air filter box. And then we're gonna start the engine to see what happens. So it is the moment of the truth. Now, I already did start the engine because the vehicle was outside. So I drove it in the shop. I was able to start it. It started well. So now I'm gonna start it on camera and let's see what happens. Now, since the 5th glow plug is broken, the check engine light will remain on. So we might have a code for the 5th glow plug, which is fine. The customer knows about it. We know about it. So now I'm gonna go in the vehicle and start the engine. Let me start the engine and then let's see if that compression leak is gonna go away. Perfect. So I hope you guys can hear the engine running. The engine sounds a lot better. What do you think, Kyler? You think it sounds better? Okay. There you go. So the engine sounds better. You know what? You know that the camera moving? That's like Matt's signature. Yes, you should look for like your move. Maybe like, you know how sometimes they have like an effect. You know how like the whole screen shake or whatever, like something that's gonna be personal to you. That way our viewers can know, and you can leave this in the video anyways. You know, like that way people can know, okay, because the shaking is Matt, and then the video, whatever you can do, then we'll know that's Kyler, you know. You guys can have your little thing. So the engine sounds good. All right, I'm gonna rev it up a little bit. So I hear the turbo hissing. That's good. So you can come close here and film this area. Okay, we don't have a compression leak here, so that's good. Now let's look at the driver's side. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Remember last time, this thing was like, we had compression gases leaking up here last time. Yeah, look how quiet it is now. All right, so that's good. we're good to go. Yeah, so it's fixed. So now I'm gonna close the hood. Let's go in the vehicle so we can take this van on a test drive. Before we go on a test drive, I'm gonna scan the engine computer. So I have the key on the dash. So let's bring up our scan tool and see what codes we have in the engine computer. So this is a Mercedes Sprinter. What year is this thing? Damn, I forgot. Let me see. I'm gonna have to move our light here. Okay, let me see. I gotta look at the VIN plate over here. This is it's a 2012. Okay. It's raining outside, so when we go on a test drive, we have to make sure the windows are up. So 2012 Mercedes Sprinter with a 3.0 liter engine. Let's auto ID the vehicle. So this vehicle was losing power before. The engine was shaking very badly because of the misfire. So when we go on a test drive, we need to see if our misfire codes will no longer come back. Okay, so here's what we got. Okay, so the scan tool has identified the vehicle. Let me do a code scan. We might have to erase all the codes before we go on a test drive. Okay, now we have 13 trouble codes in the engine computer right now. This is because when we were doing the testing, we had some components that were unplugged. But the good thing is we don't have misfire codes right now, so that's good. So let's see. Let's wait until the scan tool finishes scanning all these control units, and then we're gonna clear all these codes. Okay. On the generic side of the tool, we just have glow plug codes. So codes for glow plug 1, 3, and 5. So now let's go in the engine computer. Actually, no, let me back out. Let me erase codes out of all these control units. Instead of just clearing codes from the engine computer, let's clear the codes from all the control units on the van and see what happens. I don't know if I mentioned this. This van has 184,000 miles, so 184 to 87. That's a lot. I mean, it's not really a lot for these sprinters. If you take good care of these sprinters, they can go up to 400,000 miles. All right, so the scan tool is done clearing codes out of all these control units. So we're gonna click OK. Let's go in the engine computer. Let's read the codes. Okay, we have no codes present right now. We're gonna go on a test drive and see what happens. So while we're test driving the van, I'm gonna look at some data. So let's look at boost. Actually, let's look at DPF data feeds first. Just out of curiosity, I want to check my content, my soot content in the DPF. So fill level of DPF, diesel particulate filter is 58%, and then soot content of particulate filter is 4.2 grams. That's not too bad. Usually the engine computer initiates the regen around 9 or 10 grams of soot when there is about 10 grams of soot in the particulate filter. So that's not bad. So let's check our boost pressure control. So I'm gonna graph our boost pressure data pid. Now I'm gonna start the engine. I'm gonna put the scan tool over here. Cameraman Kyler is gonna keep our scan data on the screen as we are driving. So right now, our boost pressure is 0.98 psi. Check engine light is off, but I'm sure it's gonna come back on. Actually, glow plug light came on already. As you can see, the check engine light is off, but the glow plug light is on. All right, so let's drive out of the shop. I'm gonna be looking at my boost pressure data pid on the scan tool. So cameraman Kyler will put that up for you guys to see. So let's back out of here. Okay, so far so good. The engine sounds good. We have 1.00 psi on the scan tool as we're pulling out of the parking lot. So that's good. So I like how the engine sounds. I'm sure this is fixed. Our friend Stanley is going to be happy. Now we have an RV over here that we're gonna show you guys. It's raining, so I don't know how well cameraman Kyler can see this. So there's this RV over here. The owner of this RV drove from Texas. I believe he drives around the country. Oh, we have a tow truck coming in. So that RV over there, his name is Jay. So he called me and told me that he's been watching our videos for a while now. He's been a long-time subscriber. He told me and he asked me to film. He said, Dio, you should film a video with my RV because I want you to put a video of my RV on your YouTube channel, because I went to a couple of shops while I was coming to you, and some shops did not want to touch my vehicle because it's a Sprinter and then it's an RV. So I want you to film it so you can have a RV video on your YouTube channel, and then I'll show it to some of my RV friends so they can come to your shop. I was like, sure, we'll do that. So you guys will see that RV in a little bit, maybe in a couple of days from now. So maybe Kyler, maybe we can film it tomorrow. What do you think? Good idea? Okay, so cameraman Kyler agrees. So we'll film the RV. It doesn't need much. It's here for regular maintenance. He told me to check the brakes, the filters and everything, because he drives across country. He came with his wife, and yeah, they were like, oh, we watch you, we watch all your videos. So it was so cool. Yeah, anyways, you guys will see that RV here in the future. So the van drives well. This van, it drives well. We're building enough boost. That's good. I like how this van is driving, so I have to be careful. So the complaint on this van was the van was losing power, check engine light was on, there were misfire codes. Right now the van is not misfiring. Yeah, this is fixed. We're building enough boost. You guys will see the graph on the screen. Now, when I have a Sprinter that loses power or that has a low power concern, usually what I do is, there's a little hill over here. Kyler, if you can show this hill. So I usually come here, slow down, and then I floor the accelerator pedal. I floor it up, going up this hill. If the van is losing power, by the time I get up this little hill, the check engine light comes on and we have a low power code or a low boost code. So right now we built 2.60 psi as I was going up the hill, and the check engine light didn't come on. So this is good. This is good, because if we had a low power going on, or if we had a boost leak somewhere, I was gonna see the boost graph go down, or our boost pressure was gonna go down on the graph. Since it didn't, that tells me that we're good to go. So we don't have to go far. I am going to find a place to turn around. I mean, it's raining, I have to be careful. This van is gonna need alignment because the steering wheel is crooked. I don't know if you guys can tell. The steering wheel is not centered. And then, I don't know if the mic is picking this up. It also sounds like the front wheel bearings are worn out. This van is also gonna need wheel bearings. So I'm gonna turn around here. Let's just go back to the shop. This is fixed. Once we go back to the shop, we're gonna replace one glow plug. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna replace one glow plug, and then, oh, there's a noise coming from, yeah, bearings. This is gonna need bearings. Yeah, front bearings really bad. The front bearings are worn out on this van. So what we were hired for is fixed, okay? So the main complaint on this van was low power, check engine light, and the low power was being caused by the cylinders that were misfiring because of the compression leak that we had. So that's fixed. We fixed what we were hired for. I'm gonna let the customer know about all these other things or other problems that I'm noticing. I'm gonna let him know. So, I believe he's probably gonna have to fix the other issues himself because, like I said, he's a mechanic. So now let's drive back to the shop and replace one glow plug. So we have reached operating temperature. Right now our engine temperature is 195 degrees. So the engine is clearly hot. So when we get to the shop, we should be able to remove the glow plugs without any issues. And then we'll be good to go. So we're good. Again, I've said this in other videos. I'm gonna say this again. I hope you guys can hear me because the bearings on this van are very loud and it's raining on top of that. So when you have a misfire on a diesel engine, 95% of the time, the issue ends up being a mechanical issue on a specific cylinder or a fuel delivery problem, okay? You can have a bad injector or a wiring problem in the injector wiring. Because if the injector is spraying the correct amount of fuel in the cylinder and you don't have a mechanical problem in a specific cylinder, you should be fine. You shouldn't have a misfire. So if you have a misfire on a diesel engine, most times that's your issue. It's either a problem, it's either that you have a bad injector or you have a mechanical problem. And in this case, our issue was compression. So we were leaking compression from a couple injectors. All right, so now we're back at the shop. We're gonna drive into the shop. We have a car that's being towed out of the shop. Okay, so we are back here. All right, now, before we turn off the engine, let's see if we have a code that came back. Let me back out of here. Let's go to codes. Okay, so we have 3 codes that came back. Only glow plug codes, okay? So we have a code for glow plug 1, 3, and 5. All right, that's good. So no more misfire codes. We're no longer losing power. We're good to go. So now let's go under the hood so we can get our glow plugs replaced. I'm gonna show you how to remove one glow plug and then I'll do the rest of them off camera. Now, again, I'm gonna state this again. I don't wanna sound like a broken record, but I wanna make sure I'm stating this. fifth glow plug was broken. That has to be removed by the machine shop. Now, if you want to know how to remove and replace all the glow plugs on this Sprinter van, I have a video I made a while back on how to change the glow plugs on this engine. So you can go back to my Sprinter playlist and find that video and watch the video. So in that video, I pretty much explained everything. I walked through the whole process step by step on how to remove the glow plugs on this. So I'm gonna remove the first glow plug on the passenger side bank. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to get to. I'll do the rest of them off camera. So I don't want to show you the boring part of removing all the glow plugs on this. So if cameraman Kyler can come close to the engine here, I'm gonna remove the air filter box. So this is fixed. We know that now the engine has power. Our misfire codes are gone. So after we replace the glow plug, then we're gonna wrap up this video. So I'm gonna get the air filter box out of the way, and then I'm gonna show you our new glow plugs. So I got 5 glow plugs from the Mercedes dealership. So here is the part number of the glow plug that we're gonna install. So I'm gonna remove this tube again. Let's pull this out. And then we're gonna remove this bracket here. Okay, so we're gonna get this out of the way. Here's our glow plug. I don't know if cameraman Kyler can see it. Here's our glow plug. Now the connector, oh, actually, let me undo this one. Can you see this one? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this one over here. Okay, so you just pull this out. So on this glow plug over here, this plastic housing is missing. I'm gonna have to, I have plastic housing, I have plastic housings here. I will install a new plastic housing on this glow plug. So we're gonna remove this glow plug over here, okay? So this glow plug is also defective. I have a socket here. This is a 5/16 socket. As you can see, we had to grind this so it can fit there, okay? Since the engine is warm, this glow plug should come out pretty easily. Okay, just like that, just like butter. Again, this is the trick to this. You have to remove these glow plugs when the engine is hot, okay? So here comes the first one. Actually, there's a little dirt there. Let me put this glow plug back on. I'm gonna grab an air nozzle and blow this area off. So we're gonna blow off around the glow plug because I mean, if you do this while the glow plug is off, you know, all the dirt is gonna fall into the glow plug hole. So we're gonna blow this off. All right, it's good. So now we're gonna remove our, right there, bad glow plug. Let's put it over here. Now let's get our brand new glow plug. Okay, you don't want to touch it from the tip. I mean from the bottom tip, right there. As you can see, our new glow plug looks identical to the old one. So now I'm gonna install it. It's gonna go right there. Let me grab my torque wrench. All right, so now we're gonna torque the glow plug. The torque spec for the glow plug is 95 inch-pound. So I have my torque wrench set up to 95 inch-pound. So we're gonna torque our glow plug right there. I hope you can hear the torque wrench click. All right, so that's good. We torqued our glow plug to 95 inch-pound. Now I'm gonna reconnect the electrical connector of the glow plug. Okay, so while the engine is hot, I'm gonna go around and replace all the glow plugs. So we are done here, we're good. That's it, I'm gonna leave this right over here. I don't have to show you the boring part of replacing all the glow plugs. The vehicle is fixed, the vehicle has power, our misfire codes are gone. We're gonna replace all the glow plugs and this is gonna be good to go. And once again, I'm gonna tell the customer to take this to the machine shop so they can fish out the 5th glow plug that's broken. So we are done. We have fixed what we were hired for. We're gonna leave this right over here. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, tell us why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Cameraman Kyler, thanks for being here. See you guys next time.